What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we're going to do another round of Side A versus Side B. So I'm choosing a bunch of my favorite records, and we got crew on here to pick them apart and decide, do they like Side A, do they like Side B, or do they just think my taste is terrible? Who knows? What's up, Muldoon? That's my cat. Also, Nardcore band I Decline just put out a new LP, so you can get that at bigcartel.com/I Decline. And that is I, the letter, and then decline. So check that out. Also, you can follow them on Instagram, get the info there. I Decline Punks. And yeah, they spelled the punk way, dude. Punx. What do you expect? They do it right. You know what's up. Please subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to it. Also, if you have the time, please give it a like, rate it, review it. If you want to go the extra mile, please go to patreon.com/185 miles south. We've been doing Patreon episodes for almost we have been for every single interview podcast so far. So, and those are some of my favorite podcasts. People seem to like them. And yeah, we're pumping them out. So we will see what's up. Thank you for the support, and let's get on with the show.
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we're doing round 2 of Side A versus Side B. So I chose a bunch of records that I enjoy, and I got a crew on here. We're going to decide what side is better, Side A or Side B. Help me out. You know him. You love him. He's episode 1. He's the legend, Joe Rivas. What's up, Joe?
Good day, everybody. How's it going?
I think we're all doing all right. Also helping out, he's the only author in the clique, and that's Ben Edge, a.k.a. Bedge. What's up, Ben?
What's going on?
Also, joining us for the first time. Now, maybe you find yourself down and out, and you're cruising through a riverbed. Maybe you're looking for someone to shoot up with. Maybe you just want to fight some bums. But maybe you come across a band that kicks a little bit of ass. Maybe they're called the River Bottom Nightmare Band. And you might just meet Bobby Wilcox. What's up, Bobby?
What's up, Zach? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
that was quite an intro. I've never actually been to the River Bottom, if I'm being honest.
Oh,
but
man.
Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Poser.
Don't expect it to be that good next time. But yeah.
A one-shot deal.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I prepped a whole 15 seconds on it. So anyway, let's get this started, and we're going to jump in to a good one, I think, right away. We've talked about this band a lot, but it's mostly been the Nervous Breakdown 7-inch. But I want to know everyone's take on Black Flag, My War. My whole time in punk, like, this has kind of been a conversation as well, because I think Side A is a lot different from Side B. Definitely in the length of the songs. So I want to jump right in. Joe, what do you got on this, Side A or Side B? Black Flag, My War.
I'm going to have to go with Side A, personally. Side B, it just drags a little too much for me. I wasn't ready for it at the time. So, but You Can't Go Wrong with My War and Can't Decide is probably maybe my favorite Black Flag song right now after Nervous Breakdown. Because it's just cool. But yeah, Side A for me.
Yeah. That's interesting that you're going for Side A, but then you're back in the 5.5 minute banger on Side A. You know?
Yeah.
I wonder if they would have chucked that song on the other side if things would have gone different. Ben, what's your opinion?
It might have.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben, what's your opinion on this one?
This is a real divisive one. I think the song "My War" is an all-time classic. Can't Decide and Beat My Head Against the Wall are really good too. And I totally understand what they're trying to do on Side B, and I'm with it. Let's be super slow and heavy and alienate all our old fans. I'm totally on board 100%. More power to them, but it just isn't very good and it isn't very heavy. And I don't know if it's because Ginn is on bass or as Dale Nixon, or if Bill Stevenson just isn't the right drummer to pull off that real slow, heavy sound, but it just doesn't work. And so I'm picking side A, but I also wonder if this is influential on all the slow and heavy hardcore that dominated the 90s, or if there's just no connection at all and it's just a coincidence that Black Flag was playing slow and heavy in the hardcore scene, way back in 83, 84. So if anyone knows anyone in the band Throwdown, ask them if they were listening to this record. I'm sure they weren't.
It doesn't slide that way, right? Like, yeah, this is slower, heavier, droning punk, but it's like, it's based on like Sabbathy stuff more probably, right? So if anything, it's influential to maybe stoner rock. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's probably true. I think a lot of those stoner rock guys were really big Black Flag fans. Most of like the guys in the desert.
Definitely.
Definitely SST, yeah. SST in general, with signings like, Soundgarden and all that stuff. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, Worm, which is pre-Black Flag actually. Yeah, it just doesn't work. And like, it took me a long time to figure out, like, am I supposed to like this because this is, they were being different and groundbreaking and pushing the envelope. But it's like, if the music's not that good, then it doesn't really matter if they were being groundbreaking and pushing the envelope. But, side A is solid. So I'm going with side A, no question.
I mean, how groundbreaking is it? Like, bands have played slow before, like what's,
but they were the first in the straight up hardcore scene. I can't think of anything before this that's like this. Maybe there's something obvious that I'm not thinking of, but who was doing this in the hardcore scene before these guys? I just can't think of anyone.
I mean,
I don't think anybody.
You're right. Yeah. And the riffery is like interesting. I mean, if nothing else, it sounds like nothing else, like, I don't know what to compare this to. So I can't imagine what it would be like if like you put on side B of My War and this was like your favorite shit of all time. It's like, fuck, try to track down something that sounds like this. Bobby.
But I think My War, the song is accomplishing the heaviness. And of course it's got the mid-tempo stuff, and it's actually a good song. So it's like, if you want that heaviness, like, you get that on side A, and you have the benefit of a song that's actually good. Well, anyway, that end of my rant.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I agree with, is like, side A is the natural and good progression. You're like, right. I'm along for this Black Flag ride, and here they are, like, expanding and doing like rad shit while still writing like songs that are palatable to my brain, and I think they knock it out of the park on side A. So I mean, spoiler alert, I'll just go before I send it off to you, Bobby, but I'm taking side A as well. Mm-hmm. And Bobby, let's go to you. Side A, side B.
All right. So I'll just start off. I picked B. I'm a side B guy, and there's a reason for it. So Bez, you said it perfectly. Everything you said, I can't argue with. I mean, those are all, it's valid. Absolutely. They accomplished the heaviness with My War. I mean, they grew their hair out, came out with My War. It's a fucking perfect song. It represents the time. But there's something about side B. I think they were the first to like pull shit out of left field like this. Long ass hairs, being fucking depressed and mean and angry. And it's almost like unlistenable until you like really listen. You hear Melvins in it. You hear like you said, like, I think stoner rock is heavily influenced. A lot of like Caius, I think, were probably huge My War fans or Loose Nut fans. And so there's something about like the fuck you of side B being a Black Flag record at the time that I pick it on like just like the motivation alone, not the purpose alone. But that being said, I agree that My War as a song is doing the job, and side A is probably a more listenable side of better songs. But I like what's behind side B.
I like that though.
If that
like,
makes sense.
No, absolutely, and I like when it's a naysayer saying positive shit. That's like a double win. You know, what's up? I'm a naysayer of positivity, so I like that.
That's right.
But yeah, and all right, so we got 3-1 on this one, and let's go on to the second record. The second one I pulled
Whoa.
is
Yeah,
Joe,
dude.
Joe, you can't take both sides. It's Doctor.
Same. I was like, how? Like,
Yeah. Some of these are hard. I actually think that the other Nardcore one coming up is harder. But yeah, this one is Dr. No, the Burn 7-inch, 1985 Mystic Records. And Joe, let's just send it to you. What do you think?
Yeah, Burn. Come on.
Well, there you go.
You know, so we've gushed over this record. I don't know how many times on the pod, so I won't go super into detail. And side B wins hands down because of Burn. Well, Watch It Burn, technically, and Ice House. But Deprogram and These Pressures, Rick's drumming is so freaking amazing in those songs that it almost pushes it over. You know, I mean, Kyle's guitar and Ismael's bass and Kyle's voice, everything's great. It's solid, but Rick's drums are just so goddamn good. That skip stuff that he does is just like, it excites me. I love it.
Do you think that maybe this is the best Kyle's voice is? Like it's almost like if he's at a 10 on Plug In Jesus, he's like at an 8 here, and it actually like really works, I think.
Yeah, he's not pushing as much. I think that's what you're saying, right? I just don't like the quality of the recording of his voice. That's my, why I choose This Island Earth. His voice on This Island Earth, I think, is the best out of everything. But that's just a better recording. You know, they recorded it somewhere aside of Mystic. So
yeah, this does sound like a little thinner, of course, compared to This Island Earth, but even compared to Plug In Jesus. I mean, it's because it's the first time they're stripped down to a 3-piece.
Right, it's a 3-piece, yeah.
Yeah, and then also, probably taking a shorter amount of time at Mystic. Ben, what's your opinion on this?
I think both songs on side A are pretty good. On side B, Watch It Burn comes really close to having that mystical do-dat beat that you're trying to find the origin of, but I think it might be missing the doo-doo part.
The doo-doo is a crucial part of do-do-dat.
Yeah, do-dat, do-do-dat. It
Yeah.
might not have the doo-doo. I listened really... The thing is, if the bass drum isn't mic'd very loud, it's really hard to figure out if they're doing the do-dat, do-do-dat. But I think it isn't, but it's close. Watch It Burn and Stop the Machine kind of drag. I'm not that big of a fan of Ice House. I'm going to go with side A on this one.
All right, Bobby, let's go to you.
I'm with Joe. Side B all the way. Deprogram's great. But Watch It Burn. It's like the perfect Dr. No song. It just sums him up. It's thunder. I love it. And I like Ice House. I like them mixing death rock with punk rock and like they do. And to me, this is my favorite Dr. No, and it's side B for sure.
Yeah, I think that for sure Watch It Burn is the best song on here, with Ice House coming in second.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm side B for sure. I think Deprogram of These Pressures on side A are both good songs, but I do think that they're maybe Kyle's weakest lyrical output. Like
I believe that.
Yeah, like Deprogramming is like the 3-piece suit thing that gets repeated over and over. It's a little much, and then These Pressures, like kind of talking about like what you wear and shit. It's like I want Dr. No to be a little more abstract, and they knock it out of the park on Watch It Burn and Ice House. That's like classic in the Dr. No box material. It's what I want. And Watch It Burn's maybe their best song. I think that's interesting, Ben, that doesn't stand out to you, because like,
Yeah,
if I was going to play a single song for someone to tell him why I like Dr. No, Watch It Burn might be the one. Because like there's songs there's songs on Plug In Jesus that I might like more, but like as a song that kind of encompasses everything I like about them, this has got it all, and this is just sick. So I don't know. I'm side.
I mean, that's.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. That's what I have in my notes too. It's the Dr. No we love is Watch It Burn. I mean, that's them. I love it.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's like I don't know. They're leaning as much into the music as they are into the lyrics. It's like it's hard to pull out what's the most important part of that song. It's great. I'm side B all day. So this is 3 side B, and Ben, you got side A, right?
Side A, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, let's move on. And now this is a beast to attack. We're doing the DRI Dirty Rotten EP, 7-inch and later LP. And this is fucking wild, choosing a side against a side. Ben, let's go to you first on this one.
Well, first of all, the A side only has 9 songs, which I think is fucking weak. I mean, are you kidding me? Only 9 songs? What were they thinking? Side B has 13 songs, so that's got a leg up on side A. I want to know 2 things. So if any listener has the answer to these 2 questions, please chime in somehow. Get a hold of what's the best way to hit you up, Zach?
185 miles south at gmail.com. But I don't like that you're assuming that Bobby or Joe doesn't have the answer, man.
That's okay. Good point. If they don't have the answers to these 2 questions, please email Zach at that email address. Question number 1, is this the first ever 22 song 7-inch? And question number 2, is this the first 33 1/3 RPM 7-inch? I used to always think those early Discord records, like the 8-song Teen Idol 7-inch and the 8-song Minor Threat 7-inch, I always thought those were 33, and they're not. Those are 45s. So I don't know what came before this. That's like when Zach, when we were coming up, that's like what you did. If you're a hardcore band, you put out a 33 RPM 7-inch, but I don't know where that actually comes from. The whole thing is just shy of 17 minutes long, which is pretty mind blowing, which is actually too long to be on a 7-inch. And I had always thought when the Dirty Rotten LP came out, they added tracks to it, but it's the same exact track. It's a different track order, but it's the same songs. And to me, the standouts are I Don't Need Society, Balance of Terror, Who Am I, Money Stinks, and Reaganomics, and they're all songs that are on the B side. So it's easy for me that the answer is side B. But I want to tell a little story about the song Who Am I? In 2010, I toured Australia as the bass player for Knife Fight, and we were at a train station in Melbourne, and there was a gnarly middle-aged Australian woman that saw, like, I guess maybe it was John was wearing a DRI shirt, and she saw it, and she went, "Who am I, DRI? Who am I, DRI?" And she started singing that song, and we were just like, "Whoa!"
That rules.
So I'll always think of that woman when I hear that song, which gives side B even that much more of an edge.
Yeah, we used to talk about that song a fair amount on here back when Greg from Take Offense was helping out a lot, but he hasn't been on the pod in a while, so the DRI jokes have gone to the wayside. But that's Ben for side B. And Bobby, let's go to you. Side A, side B.
B all the way. I mean, side A, it's all good. Sad to Be is a 6 song. I mean, side A is great. I don't know. It's consistent. But side B, I Don't Need Society. It's fucking. I think I Don't Need Society and Reaganomics are the 2 best songs. They bookend side B, and then you have like, what was it, Commuter Man and Balance of Terror, kind of. They're changing up the style a little bit. It's a little more interesting, and that's in the middle of side B. Side B all the way.
Joe, what's your take on this one?
I say side A. Let me get to my notes really quick. I was looking up to answer one of Ben's questions. Capitalist Suck is my favorite song on there. However, Who Am I is on side B, and that is as you mentioned, a pod tradition. But Capitalist Suck. I just love that song, so I'm going to go with that. Side A. The 33 RPM thing. I mean, Land on the Toilets is also 83, and that's a 33.
Plus, Doug Moody claims to have had the idea. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have to go and look. I was trying to pull up. I did a whole Mystic discography at one point, and but on the spot, I can't pull it up. And I'm trying to think of what would be the 83 7-inches. Like maybe Jeff Dahl, he did his band that he called Power Trip, and that might have been 83 Lab Animal, and that might be a 33 as well. I don't know. We should how about the
I got Discogs up right now. I'm looking at it, but yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll tell you if it's 33 or not, but then the Hey Taxi, I Hate Dogs, like the pre-Minutemen. I don't know. I mean, that's the first Mystic punk 7-inch. So, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. Joe, what are your notes?
45.
Do you have more notes on?
No. That was it.
All right, I'm going side B.
That I love Capitalist Suck. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going side B as well. I Don't Need a Society and Commuter Man, I think, are the best songs. Commuter Man, especially. I just love it. Starts with like the slow, like the epic slow circle mosh, like tempo. Da 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 da, you know, and then it goes to the raging mid-tempo punk tempo, and then it fucking goes fast. It's like, okay, you hit the 3 best tempos in one song, and like speeding up, like it's like a graph, you know, like an exponential graph of awesome. It's like you're just taking me there, woo! And I absolutely love it.
And I think, and that's the first time on the record where the tempo changes. Honestly, that's where it stands out to me with Commuter Man.
Yeah,
and I was like, all right, well. Side B's more going on, you know what I mean? Yeah, same.
Yeah, plus like side A like might need to be disqualified just because Sad to Be is over 2 minutes, and that's a wild thing, huh? For how short so many of these songs are. Like they started off like, all right, we're gonna put our most noble effort forward, and then we're just gonna fucking melt your brain. You know, it's pretty wild. But like a song, like I don't know. Sad to Be kind of suffers from the record not sounding great, and it doesn't sound that great because, Ben, you're right. Like, you know, going from 45 to 33, it frees you up more space, but you still only have X amount of side or X amount of time on the record before the quality deteriorates. And obviously, like,
yeah, I think it's 5 minutes per side or 6 minutes per side. It's not they go over 17 minutes for a whole 7-inch. It's too long.
Yeah, at 33, I think you get 6 minutes, 6-ish.
Yeah,
right. And so the grooves are a little too close together, and whatever. But yeah, I'm going side B as well. So again, every record we've done so far has had one dissenter, which is great. It means I'm picking okay. I don't want to pick too lopsided.
Zach, what do you think of this record versus Dealing With It?
I think Dealing With It is a better record, and it also sounds better, so I might like listening to it more. But this one, for this, I haven't listened to this in forever, and I listened to it twice, both times like in my car while driving, and this record is so fun. Like, it's just literally a fun record. I'm not bored the whole way through, and also I think that, you know, when you think about the ridiculousness of how many songs are on this record, your brain goes to that, okay, this is going to be a bunch of throwaway songs. But if you listen to all these songs, even though they don't sound super good, they're actually all like really good, pretty well thought out songs. Like, I don't think any of this stuff is trash. It's like they really put forward an effort to do something rad here, and it's why they're a legendary band. But yeah, Dealing With It, I think it's like kind of the same theory, but like maybe just a tad bit more well thought out and sounds just a tad bit better. And let's send that to everyone. Joe, what do you think about the comparison of the two?
Dealing With It, I love it way more than this, but you know, this is the catalyst for there's 3 songs that are on both.
At least 2.
Yeah.
I Don't Need Society and Reaganomics, and then that's all I can think of. There might be another one.
Yeah, maybe it is just 2. Yeah. but it again, they got maybe some a better budget to record, so that's why it just sounds cleaner and stuff. It's not taking anything away from those that the Dirty Rotten EP, but dealing with it just sounds better.
Bobby, what do you think about that?
Same. I haven't listened to this in 15, 20 years, maybe. If I want to listen, I put on Dealing With It. It's just my go-to. But that said, same as you, I listened to this probably, it's like not even 20 minutes. I listened to it 2 or 3 times, loud as fuck. And dude, it's fun. It's great. Like, it made me realize like how like just fun and perfect of a punk rock band they are. And yeah, it's not all garbage. Like every song is like a structured, thought out little punk rock song. They're great. But Dealing With It's what I would put on.
Same.
Jam.
Same. I'm exactly the same way. Yeah. These are the only 2 DRI records I like, and I only ever listen to Dealing With It.
Same. Yeah.
But the song Thrash Zone is so ill. Like a wild Indian from outer space, drunk and high on weed. I mean, it's like the best line of all time.
Pretty good.
Like a wild Indian from outer space, drunk and high on weed. So good. All right, DRI. I think it got the proper love. And let's go on to another Nardcore record. And it's The False Confession, self-titled 7-inch. Again, we've talked about this record lots on the pod, but I want to dial into it. I think that this is probably the best, now, outside of the Burning Dog 7-inch, probably the best Nardcore 7-inch ever. I just think that all 6 of these songs are really fucking good. Like, all stand out. And sonically, for Mystic, this might be one of the best sounding 7-inches. Especially like on the first song, like just how that hi-hat sounds when like they're doing the drivey mid-tempo beat, like that hi-hat tone is sick. Like it just sounds like almost like tribal. Like I want to just chop someone, Death is not the answer. And it's like you just hear that hi-hat. I don't know. I love it. It makes me want to rage every time I hear it. And but yeah, I'll pass it off. Bobby, let's go to you first on this one.
I'm just saying, this is my favorite Nardcore 7-inch. This and Burn are like right there tied. I like every song. I like just about every part of every song. But Our Savior is my favorite. I just like the progression from like starting off kind of dark and sludgy to just perfect fucking hardcore thrash. So side B, because I like Our Savior the best. But the whole thing is perfect. I mean, it's hard to pick a side.
Yeah, this one's super, super hard. Joe, let's go to you.
I'm going to go side B as well. Our Savior is my favorite song from them. That, that funky guitar that Fred is playing there. It's not funk, but you know what I'm saying. Is it just catches you. And there's those chunky parts that come in at almost metal gallop kind of stuff that he's doing there, and it's just great. That's not to take anything away from side A, and I like this version of Left to Burn better than the Dr. No version of it. So yeah, side B.
All right, and Ben, what's your take on this?
Wait, so Dr. No did the same song? Are you talking about Watch It Burn versus Left to Burn?
No, Left to Burn is a different song entirely than Watch It Burn, but there's also a song that Dr. No does that's called Left to Burn that's on the Silent Earth. The LP, the LP
totally
after
different.
this.
Okay. I thought Left to Burn's good. Feline is cool. It reminds me of death rock bands like 45 Grave and Christian Death. Scared has that ripping guitar solo intro. I don't have much to say about the B side. None of it's bad, but none of it stands out either to me. So I'm going to go with side A.
Bedge is lucky he's 60 miles south of Joe, huh?
That was wild. But hey, fuck it. It's cool.
That was a
Good.
wild brush off. All right. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you don't love this, Ben, but that's cool. Okay, so I'm going side B as well. That riff that Joe refers to on the Our Savior is ill, and I almost wish they milked it more. Like I wish they made like a minute long intro out of it because it's so rad. It's just kind of a for that riff, it's almost like an unorthodox tempo for it that just hits so perfectly. But for this band, Just As I Am is my favorite song. I love that they do like that bridge part that cuts out and goes into the Left Behind Myself With You. And then the way it just comes in raging fast off that. It's so ill. You know, as a dude that's played in hardcore bands my whole life, you know, the formula is go to the breakdown. I'm really loving listening to these songs that kind of have like an anti-breakdown. You know, like instead of going to like the slow part there, they go to a bridge part that then rages. You know, that's rad. And I think on the first one we listened to the Unbroken song, Fall on Proverb, that like kind of does the same thing, like an anti-breakdown, like where you think it's going to go to a mosh part, it actually goes to like a scissor beat fast part. And that stuff's just like really tickling me right now in the right spot. Side A, it's hard to compare the two because they're both so good. Lies and Scared, I guess, would be. I love them all, but the first two songs on both sides are the bangers. I think the way that Left to Burn comes in with like the Death Is Not the Answer, like fuck, how do you play with that? Feline, it just shows that like there's such a depth to this band and they're pulling off like another style. I'm going side B just because if I had to choose, I got Feline on the Nardcore comp. So, yeah, I'm going side B. And that's that. So, again,
how about
3-1? What's up, Joe?
I was just going to say, how about the packaging? The picture of the guys on the back is just so amazing. I just love that photo.
Yeah, I like it too. All the dudes is like dressed in black. I like Harry's outfit probably the most with like it's
right, like a t-shirt and then like a cut-off t-shirt on top of that.
But it's like a cut-off on top of another cut-off. It's like I'm going to the gym, but I'm going to sweat through one of my shirts, so I'll just take one off and I'll still be wearing a muscle tee. You know, it's pretty ill.
And I think Scotty's wearing a winos too.
Oh, word.
That just adds to it.
Zach, you need to do an anti-breakdown Spotify playlist. And I thought of the song. Tell me if this qualifies. Positive Aspect of Negative Thinking by Bad Religion. Now it just breaks into it's like that normal mid-tempo Bad Religion song, and then halfway through it, it's just like taka 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 taka. Like what?
Yeah, I'm so tired of all the fucked up lies. The rare Jay Bentley song, dude.
Oh, did he write that?
Yeah, that's why it's such an outlier. It's like it's the Jay Bentley song, dude, and he was like, "I'm gonna write the piss song." So like, don't talk shit about bass players, fool. But yeah, okay. So moving on, Joe, we'll just give you the mic and you can go on for 20, 30 minutes. We'll pass this one off to you. We're talking Good Riddance and the Gidget 7-inch. And Joe, let's go to you first. Actually, you know what? Let me take this time before we go on because there is a playlist for every episode, people that are listening. So just go to 185milessouth.com. You can click that link at the top that says playlists, and then you can like listen along with us or whatever. So we're not just talking about some stuff like maybe you haven't heard the Gidget 7-inch. I'm trying to pull up some stuff, I don't know, that like people kind of know and some that you might not know, but maybe the stuff you don't know is from a band that you do know. Who knows? But yeah, Joe, Good Riddance, Gidget 7-inch. What we got?
Yeah, so this is on Little Deputy, which was a Texas label, which was really strange that a Santa Cruz band got on this little Texas label, but they did. Anyway, yeah, so Last Believer is my favorite Good Riddance song. Now, this is the genesis of that. The better version of it, of course, is on Comprehensive Guide Modern Rebellion, which is the second full length on that. But I still love the song, and so I had to pick side A. Though I do love the chorus, the way that the chorus breakdown thing happens in Patriarch. So Rich Mack playing drums. I can't remember the bass player. It's not the. It doesn't matter. It's before Chuck, so it does matter. I just can't remember the guy's name. Sorry, but it's not Chuck. So yeah, that's it. Good riddance. I don't got a whole lot to say. I don't like the recording. They could have done better, but they didn't have a whole lot of money. So,
Well, it was all worth it for you
Yo.
throwing some heat at that bass player that doesn't matter. So, shout out to that.
And tell me if this is correct, Joe.
I want to say it's Tom Kennedy, but Tom didn't actually play on this 7-inch on this recording. It's another guy, and I can't think of his name.
Devin Quinn.
Oh, there we go.
It says Tom Kennedy is credited on this release, but Devin Quinn actually played bass.
Yeah,
according to Discogs. Don't at me, bro. I'm wrong about that one.
I'm 99.9% chance for sure that's correct.
Well, Devin, if you're listening, I'm actually a fan. I really like
the
your
bass
bass playing.
is great. Yeah,
And to me, you do matter. So don't let people tell you shit. All right, Ben, let's go to you.
Not So Bad. It's funny, we were just talking about Bad Religion. Not So Bad sounds so much like Do What You Want by Bad Religion that like I was like kind of like singing along to this song, like I'll believe in God when 1 and 1 are 5, like when he's singing whatever words are the different words to this song. But I thought that Last Believer is like kind of standard punk full of political cliches, although now I want to go back and listen to the re-recording of it because I don't remember that having been re-recorded for the second album. But I'll take your word for it, Joe, that it sounds 100 times better than this recording. Just for Today, not a fan of that song. Patriarch is straight up boring to me. Not every band comes out of the gates fully formed and awesome sounding. Like a lot of bands, it takes a few releases before they hit their stride. So definitely the case for Good Riddance. And I was going to say something about Chuck as well that Joe maybe can answer, is that did Chuck contribute songwriting, like significant songwriting to the band after he joined?
Oh, that's a good question. He certainly added, at least on the second record. I don't know where they were in recording. No, because they did the 7-inch, the Decoy 7-inch first on that, and that's like a couple months before Forgotten Country came out. So I think he might have had some input.
Okay. Yeah, because
he brought some of his, SoCal Youth Crew flavor to Good Riddance when he moved from Long Beach to Santa Cruz.
Right, because they drastically improve after he joins the band. So I was just wondering if there's a connection there. But I'm going to go with side A on this one.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, they drastically improved, but I think that they're searching for their sound on this record. And Good Riddance is a LP band. When you're playing different, I don't know, tempos, and you have a lot of melody and you have a lot to say, I think that you're best served on an LP. And I think they're changing it up a lot on this record and like searching for what they would become and just not quite nailing it yet, but it's still super rad. Bobby, let's go to you.
Okay, so I made notes. Some of these I'd never heard, so I'd never heard this 7-inch before. I was never a Good Riddance guy. I don't know. I saw them a lot because they always seemed to play, and they were always fun to watch. But I've never owned a Good Riddance record. Never got into them. So first listen, Not So Bad was pretty bad. Last Believer, I liked the mid tempo. The lyrics were good. Same. I'm interested in hearing like a later version of it because, is this the first 7-inch they put out? Is this like the first thing they did?
Yeah. Well,
this is from
they had 2 demos.
These are from a demo, right?
They had 2 demos.
So these are from a demo.
Right.
Okay. Well, then that said, I mean, I'd like to hear like a later version of Last Believer. Just for today, I couldn't even listen to the whole thing. It's just not for me. Patriarch, I liked a lot. I liked the bass and guitar playing off each other at the beginning was good. I just thought it was like the most thought out, like had the most depth of any of the songs on there. So because of Patriarch, I would pick side B. And for Joe, I will move on to later in their catalog and check out more. I mean, I didn't like this, but I feel like I never gave that band a fair chance. And live, they were always fucking sick. Every show was fun, always. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna dig deeper.
I'm following Bobby on this. I think Patriarch is the standout song. Someone's got. If you're not talking, you can go on mute. Patriarch's a standout song. Last Believer is obviously one of the best Good Riddance songs. And I'm a little curious, Joe, do you know, like, isn't it strange that they write a song this good and they don't put it on the first LP? Like, they save it and it comes out on the second LP and it's like a standout track on the second LP, the way they do it? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think that they maybe just looked down on it because of, I don't know, like they comparing the two versions of it, like Sean Sellers, the drummer on the second LP, plays it so much different that there's just so much more energy in it. Where on the 7-inch, it's just it kind of it drags a bit, and maybe they were just afraid that was what was going to happen, and then Sean played it with them, and like they're holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah, they took it up.
I don't know that for sure, but yeah,
they took it up a few beats per minute for sure, and yeah, and the kick drum on the re-recorded version is awesome. It is interesting, and when I listen to this, I do feel like it drags, but I wonder if that's just because I'm hearing it second. Like I wonder what it would be like to hear this first and then hear the LP version. Who knows? But I think Patriarch is the standout track on this 7-inch. I said I think that they're kind of searching for their sound on this record, and the one time they really knock it out of the park is Patriarch. That chorus is ill. It's like they wrote a legit great song on here, I think. And that's the one. And, if they're not above re-recording songs, like, I don't know why they should have done this one later, too. I think it could have been a hit, but who knows? So I am side B on Good Riddance Gidget. And let's move on. Next one I chose, one of my favorite Cleveland bands of all time, The Pagans. And they did a bunch of early 7-inches. Maybe most notably their first one, the 6 and Change. My favorite is Street Where Nobody Lives, but I couldn't find the B-side on Spotify, and I'm trying to have the playlist out there for the people so you guys can listen along. But so the record I chose here is the Pagan 7-inch. That's the Not Now, No Way on one side and I Juvenile on one side. And Joe, what do you think about this?
And that I Juvenile song just got me. I really, really, really liked it. And I can't tell you what exactly it was that grabbed me. The first song, the side A song, is great, but the I Juvenile, it just I don't know, like the way that it. I'm gonna cliche here, but the energy of that song is just so much more than what I got from the first song. That's all. So I chose side B.
Yeah, this band, I feel you when you're saying like it reminds me of something. I can't put my finger on it. Like that's how I felt when this band has done like a lot of comps. The one like from the 80s, the comp, like, I don't mean a comp like they're on a bunch of comps. I mean, there's been like compilations of all their early material
of their stuff. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Right. And there's the one in the 80s that came out. It's like a Pink album, and I think it's just called The Pagans. And then they did one not that many years ago called Shit Street that has all this stuff on it and has one of the worst album covers of all time. But both those you can find them and listen to all this shit. And the first time I heard it, which was not that long ago, maybe like 5-8 years ago, just listening, like discovering an old band and being like, oh my God, every song is a fucking banger. And I feel like I've like known these songs my whole life. Like, where did this come from? Like it's so rad to be able to discover something like that, like later in your punk journey. So I can totally relate to you on like hearing that I Juvenile song and like feeling something.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I know this song.
Yeah, maybe it's because a bunch of our favorite bands knew these guys and were stoked on them, and then that's why they sounded, they incorporated what they were doing and brought it into their band, and we know that band, but not the origin of them. You know how that works, so
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm guessing. I honestly don't know why it sounds so familiar, but I love it. I love that song. Thank you for putting this on there because I wasn't familiar with it before. So I know the band, but not the song.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love both songs. Bobby, let's go to you. What do you think?
I fucking love the Pagans, man. I was stoked to see this. River Bottom played What's a Shit Called Love, and like Stacy introduced me to them back then, and I've just fucking loved them ever since. Not Now, No Way is my second favorite Pagans song, so side A. But I Juvenile is fucking awesome, and I love hearing that someone connected to it that wasn't familiar. Because for me, the Pagans are like just criminally underrated. Like they're so fucking good and important. And yeah, so check out What's This Shit Called Love. If you're not familiar with the Pagans, that's another great song.
Yeah.
Side A.
Yeah. Why do you think they're so underrated? Do you think it's just, when I'm talking about like there's been the multiple compilations, like it's just, I think maybe it's been out of press so many times since then that people can't get it. Or maybe it's just overshadowed because like the Dead Boys are like cannon fodder and you just think Dead Boys if you think Cleveland.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. There's no reason because it's really well put saying that they feel like familiar because they're just so like, there's so many hooks and so many Pagan songs. You can go through some of those comps are like 25, 30 songs. There's a bunch of shit out there now that you can listen to basically everything that Pagans ever recorded. And God, it's like 85% bangers. It's so good. And I have no idea why they're so underrated.
How much touring did they get in?
Probably not much. If I was to guess.
So that's probably why then, right?
I think not making an album for a band in the '70s couldn't have been a good move.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah, absolutely.
So they get lumped in with like maybe some of the Killed by Death bands more so than like a Dead Boys that put out like 2 records, right? Including like one super classic one. Ben, what do you think about this?
The Pagans are probably one of the first 20 punk bands I ever heard. But it was the Dead End America Little Black Egg 7-inch. That was the single that my dad's friend gave me, or that my dad already had. I forget which. And for some reason, I never really got fanatical about them, even though I love that record. But everything I've ever heard by the Pagans has been at least good, if not great. I thought Not Now, No Way is a cool mid-tempo punk song with like a really cool sounding solo. Not just cool, it's not just that the solo was well played, but the actual whatever pedal or effect he was using sounded really good too. And I Juvenile has more interesting drumming and cool backups. So I'm going to go with I Juvenile by a hair. It's almost a coin toss, but I Juvenile just by a hair. So I'm going to go side B.
Yeah, this is hard. I think both songs are great and interesting in both different ways. I'm going to go Not Now, No Way just because it goes against convention of what I usually like in a punk song. Like this song drags out kind of a while at the end, like with that chorus just kind of going on for a while. Not now, no way, it's a wrong time, it's a wrong time. It's like, and I don't want it to end. Where usually I want a song to rap and it's like, I'll just listen to it again. I'd rather listen to a song like 5 times in a row than hear like a band milk apart. But like this, I just don't want it to stop. I'm like, keep going, I'm rocking, And I Juvenile is a ripper too. And again, it has something that I generally don't like, which is like kind of a weird voice in there that like takes you out of the song, like the Oh Babies and the You Babies or whatever. But on this, I think it really works well, and I love it. But yeah, I'm going Not Now, No Way to even out Ben's hair, because I'm just going by a hair on that side. I think both of these songs are rippers, and I love this. I mean, I wish I could say I had this 7-inch, but I love these 2 songs on multiple compilation LPs I have. Okay, the Pagans have been represented, and it won't be the last time on this pod, because this is another band that I want to just sing the praises from the mountaintops and get everyone into. But let's go on. This LP was on one of our lists for the best of 2019, and Ben brought it up on a recent podcast, and I do want to incorporate some newer stuff into these. So this is a good one. This is the Restraining Order self-titled LP from 2019. And Ben, your request, so you take it over first.
This record rules. It might be the best hardcore album of that decade, whatever the hell that decade is called, the tens. Not, which isn't saying much coming from me because I'm not a big fan of most of the stuff that came out in the last 10 years, but this record is great and it gets better with every listen. They moved from sounding like a Negative Effects Last Rites mashup on their demo and their 7-inch on New Age to really coming into their own sound with this one. They keep those influences and then they add more. Like at times, this record reminds me of The First Step, which might be totally coincidental. And the guys in the band, if they're hearing this, might be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? The First Step? We're not a youth crew band, but I swear, like there are parts of this album where if you imagine like The First Step playing them, you're like, oh yeah, totally. And the first three songs just go straight one into the other into the next, like just all incredible. And this is what I consider break furniture level hardcore, where you listen to a record and you just want to break all the furniture in your house because you're so amped up. Like bands like Dead Stop and Step Forward, I'd say would be within the last like 15 years, other bands that I would consider like break furniture level hardcore. Especially the song Broken Voice Box, which is the third song on the album. Something for the Youth is cool. It kind of reminds me of SSD. And I wonder if Choke has heard this band because they kind of like do what he does, but better, which is like, that doesn't happen very often where someone is influenced, where one band is influenced by someone else and does it better than the original. And I'm not saying this is better than Last Rites. I'm saying it's like better than whatever Choke is doing now. Like whatever the last 17 Slapshot records were, this is better than those. I love the stops and starts in the song Back and Forth, which is on the B side. The backwards part on the song Can I Please reminds me of The Faith. Whatever song on The Faith, Void Split, where you hear the backwards. Maybe it's In the Black. I forget. It's also refreshing to hear a newish hardcore band with so many songs that don't have breakdowns, because I feel like breakdowns are like the hardcore band's crutch. That bands rely on breakdowns too much, and then you end up having a band where like every song has a breakdown in it. So it's kind of cool to hear a band just play like a 40-second song that's just fast and good, and then it ends, and then it goes to the next song. So I'm going with side A on the strength just of those first three songs on the album. So side A for me.
Yeah, I think we should also mention like this album cover is one of the greats, and to come up with something so simple and rad looking, this late 2019, it's ill. I love this album cover.
It's Disengage.
Yeah, it is, but it's on LP, so it's cooler because it's bigger, dude. But yeah, Bobby, let's go to you. Or Bobby might be on mute. Joe, let's go to you.
Okay. Yeah, I liked this. I wasn't thoroughly impressed. I've heard a lot of this before, but side A had the best songs overall. Although the last song on side B is probably my favorite out of all of them, but side A just wins out because it had more consistency with the songs. This has been done a lot, so it's not bad, but it doesn't grab me.
It took me a while. I'll be honest, like the first couple times I heard it, I'm like, yeah. I get what they're doing. It's not new. It's good. Nothing really stands out. And then I listened to it, 20 more times, and I decided it is really good after all. So I don't know why. I don't know what accounts for that.
I'll give it more because you say so, Ben. Seriously, I'll give it its due. The recording is fantastic, and the The drummer and the bass player are fucking tits. But yeah, it just missed me, I guess. And that might be because I listened to it all, while I'm driving, and I wasn't really able to, sit down and rip it apart or build it up. And I might have been a little stressed on my drive too. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a shot again. But I do like the songs. I'm not slagging them. It just, yeah.
I think if you want to know if it's break furniture tier or not, you got to be like within 6 feet of a piece of furniture. So I don't know if driving works the best with this. and I can sympathize a bit with, you saying like this isn't anything new or whatever, but I think that we also have to think about that, like they are attacking a style that's been done before and doing it better than most, after it's been done so many times. And I do think this is a standout. Partially because they got a perfect recording for it, partially because every single person of this band is like pulling their weight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like a lot of times when you have like Ben talking about like, bands that aren't leaning into breakdowns, like maybe you would consider them like more fast hardcore bands. Like it can be kind of like sloppy sometimes, or maybe, the bass player is a standout, or maybe the drummer is just like good enough to get by. And I think that like, these dudes are all standing out at their instruments, including the singing, and just doing a great job. And I'm leaning. Joe, did you choose? You chose side A, correct?
Yeah, side A.
Okay, I think that this album comes out the gate with like bangers, but kind of what Joe was saying, like, and what Ben was saying for the original, like it not grabbing him. I think the first like handful of songs are really good, and I listen to them, and I'm like, okay. Here's a band doing something really well in a style that is like really hard to make sound fresh. But I think where this band totally shines is the B side. I think there's just a little bit more YOLO mentality. And I think Something for the Youth is like ill as fuck. Like that's a thing that this band does that a lot of like bands leaning to fast hardcore don't do quite so well. Is this band can knock the mid-tempo bangers out of the park and like not make them sound like, oh, okay, they're doing like the obligatory like mid-tempo song, It's like, no, they're actually doing a fucking rager, and there's one on the first side that's like great, but Something for the Youth is just like next level for a mid-tempo banger hardcore song. I absolutely love it. And then I think the back-to-back of that into back and forth how it starts fast and then has like the guitar break and then comes in. It's just like everything I want in non-heavy hardcore music. I absolutely love it. I love this whole record, every single thing about it, but I'm saying side B. And Bobby, you are off mute. So let's go to you.
I was on mute. Sorry about that. No, I'd never heard this before. I remember hearing Ben suggest it, and I just forgot. So thanks for putting it on here. It was fucking flawless. I've heard it all before, but that doesn't make it any less, I don't know, fun to listen to. I would have to pick side B, I guess, because I could hear it kind of like developing as it went on. I don't know. I like it all. I'll keep listening to this record for a very long time. I like it a lot. But I guess I'd pick side B if I had to choose.
All right.
More going on. A little more interesting.
Yeah, super rad. And I think this one's split 2-2. Ben, how hard do you ride for side A? Can we get you over to the dark side for a 3-1?
I'm sticking with side A. It's just those first 3 songs in a row. It's like the perfect way to start an album. It's just one song into the next and the next, just beating you down. I just realized, I'm searching around Discogs, their drummer produced, engineered, and mixed this record. So they have their own producer in the band, which is like perfect. It's like you got it all.
Yeah, what a hero.
It sounds great. This record sounded so good.
It sounds so good. And that rules because it means that they're not going to have to, like, if they do another record, they're not going to lose their sound. if like the drummer's the one that came up with like what they sonically wanted to sound like for this LP.
Unless they kick them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on to that guy. Hang on to him.
But that would be a bad idea. He also did most of the Mind Force stuff.
Those are some serious MVPs. Mind Force is the shit. All right, let's go on. The next record I got is now this is old Nardcore. The first, as Tony Cortez has said on the Nardcore 30 Years Later comp. And I'm doing the Rotters, and they put out 2 7-inches, but this one I like more. Sit on My Face Stevie Nicks is good, but this one is Sink the Whales and by Japanese Goods and B-side Disco Queen. And Bobby, let's go to you. What do you think about this one?
I'm not a fan of the Rotters. I mean, I appreciate the legacy, but I did not like either one of these. But I would choose Sink the Whales because it was hilarious. I laughed. but I'll never just blast the Rotters and go for a drive. That's just me. But I pick A. It's funny.
Okay, Joe, how do you feel about this?
Can I choose side C? No.
Okay.
I like Disco Queen better than Sink the Whales.
You guys are out of your fucking mind. Sink the Whales is such a good song, dude. The way they make you wait for the chorus and then it finally comes and it's like such a good chorus. Come on.
I laughed. It's the only song on this whole playlist that I laughed out loud at. So I'll give it that. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it's like, and it's actually a good chorus. Listeners, back me up. Listen to this song and tell me it's fucking good. Ben, let's go to you.
I remember learning that there were only 3 countries that still practice whaling and how we should boycott all products from them. And they are Norway. And I thought, no problem. I'm never going to buy anything from Norway. Iceland, no problem. I'm not buying anything from Iceland. And then the third one was Japan. And it was like, literally everything electronic is made in Japan. That might be a little tough. And then, this, it makes me wonder, like, obviously they're making a joke, but maybe this actually does bring awareness to like, hey, the Japanese still practice whaling. But I don't know if this ever converted anyone into attempting to boycott Japanese products. I think that like the fact that they lean in hard on those fake English accents doesn't make them better than they would have been if they just sang in American accents. Like, I think I'd like them a little more if they just sang in their regular, where are they from? Like Thousand Oaks or something?
Camarillo
accents, whatever a Camarillo accent sounds like. Disco Queen is a little more rocking, even though it doesn't have as memorable of a title as Sink the Whales by Japanese Goods or Sit on My Face Stevie Nicks. I'm going with side B, and I'm doing it for the Whales.
Yeah, that is interesting. And I think those are still the 3 countries that whale, right, Ben? Because I know Iceland does still for sure. And I always thought it was interesting because, in the pre-COVID times, I think maybe the Iceland government was like subsidizing tourism there. Because did you guys notice like everyone was going to Iceland? Like, oh, I want to go to Iceland. Like everyone was going. And I heard like when you get there, like everything was like super fucking expensive. So they're like, airfare $500, and you get there and it's like $7 for a Coke. It's like, they got me on the back end. But also like I did think it was really funny because a lot of woke people were wanting to go to Iceland or going to Iceland. It's like, these fools are fucking whaling still. Or maybe people don't care about that, but who knows, man.
Okay, I looked it up. I looked it up, and Norway is off the list. So there's only 2 countries left, Japan and Iceland.
All right.
That practice whaling. Yeah.
Shout out Dark Throne. We can still listen to your records. So I'm going side A, obviously. I think this is a great 70s punk song. It's tongue-in-cheek in the way that we love a lot of California hardcore being, and this chorus is so big and so good. Absolutely love it. And with the accents, I mean, 70s punk is a lot of it's just fucking weird. Like, I don't know if it's for me to understand what they're going for, and it is what it is. But I think that song rips, so I'm going side A moving on. Let's go to, we got 2 left. And we're not punishing people with 3 hours of Youth Crew this time around. We might get out of here in an hour and 20. People are stoked. The next one I chose is the Dills, and they have 2 really notable 7-inches, but the one I went with is the I Hate the Rich 7-inch. And Ben, let's go to you.
So this is their first 7-inch. The first 2 7-inches both came out in 1977, and I had to call my friend David Jones today, who's writing a book about the first 5 punk bands in the LA scene, which includes the Dills, even though they're not technically from LA. And I said, is this the first or the second? And he goes, I Hate the Rich is the first one. I said, okay. I also used to work at Aaron's Records with Chris Ashford, who put out this record. He was the guy behind What Records. So here's a fun fact, and you can look this up on Discogs. The first press of this record makes it look like the band is called the Oils because the D looks like an O. And then he did another press like before the year was up, and it looks like a D. So if you have the record that looks like the band is called the Oils, that's worth something. That's worth a lot, I guess.
Ben, just to jump in on you before I forget, the Oils, like that's kind of a sick band name because Oils is like not proper plural, dude. So it's like extra punk.
Well, if you have olive oil and you have canola oil and you have safflower oil, you have 3 different oils. So it is correct.
Fuck. Well, I'm stupid as fuck.
Fucking Strand High.
It's like fishes. It's like fishes. Fishes is correct if you're talking about different species of fish. Fishes.
Fuck. I should have not transferred from Oxnard High to Silver Strand High. God damn it. Sorry, Ben.
My instinct is to pick I Hate the Rich because of its urgency and direct message. But there's more going on musically with You're Not Blank, which I didn't realize until doing this for the show, is that it's actually called You're Not Blank, So Baby We're Through. I never realized that before. I'm still going to go with I Hate the Rich, but only by a hair. I think that song, along with Class War, which is from the 7-inch after this, those 2 songs define the band, you know. I hate the rich, so let's have a class war. You know, it's kind of like that's what they'll be remembered for, those 2 songs. So side A, I hate the rich. That's what I'm going with.
And I think we're honing in on another 185 trend. If one is Daniel getting away with picking 2 songs, the other one might be Bedge by a hair.
By a hair.
Yeah, just by a little hair. Not really choosing it, but kind of choosing it. Bobby, let's go to you.
I Hate the Rich. Side A. I mean, that song's rad. It's the way it drives. It's the lyrics are urgent. The music's urgent. I mean, that was well said. Exactly. You're Not Blank's great. I love the guitar. I fucking hate the drums in that song for some reason. It just drives me crazy. Still, rad song. It's what do they call it? The Clash of California. You can totally hear it. Yeah, side A all the way though. But they're both great.
Yeah, the drumming is a little strange on You're Not Blank, but only when it goes to like the mid tempo. That first part is wild, but then it is weird because it's like, man, they're hitting on this weird tempo, and there's like a depth to the verses, like of melody, and it's like almost like a strange, beautiful melody, and then it does like take you right out of it when they go to like that really like simple straight beat. If that beat was
exactly like
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I like what they're almost doing. Just for me, it doesn't quite like get there. But I mean, this is their first 7-inch. I didn't know that. It's fucking impressive. And what they're trying to do and what they accomplished on it is cool. I'd like to hear it in like a couple of years, you know, like record it again.
Yeah, super rad. Joe, let's go to you.
It's good, but
Bobby, you finish first, and then we'll go to Joe.
No, that was it. No, they're both great. I mean, I'm not trying to talk shit. Like, you can't shit on either one of these songs, but I would pick side A. It grabs me more.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to pick out that I agree with is it's a very rudimentary drum beat that they go into on like the chorus. That can like pull you out of it a little bit. But I guess on the other side would be it is like an abrasive thing to pull you out of an unorthodox part to like maybe ground the song. But I don't know. Joe, let's go to you.
I went with side A as well. I Hate the Rich. I really liked that song. The other song is great. I hear what you guys are saying about the weird drums and stuff like that. I just chalked it up as punk rock kids that don't know how to play on their first record. So, and I don't judge that kind of thing. Out the gate later on, they better know how to play. But I really like the sentiment of what I Hate the Rich is about. So that's why I went with that side A.
I'm You're Not Blank all day. That the verses and that tempo are just something like that can't be touched. It's so ill, sounds like nothing else, and I love it. And later also covered by Dillinger 4 on one of their 7-inches. So kind of cool.
Oh.
Yeah, how about that? D4 always coming with the right shit. Okay, final one for the night. And this is like a random comp that I've had forever because I love 3 of these bands. And it's interesting, like a 7-inch comp with just 4 songs. I'm going Chicago versus Amsterdam on Hopeless Records. And so it is the Boll Weevils and 88 Fingers Louie on one side and Funeral Oration and NRA on one side. And Joe, let's go to you first.
Well, so I'm pulling up the side. It's side A. So the 88 Boll Weevils.
Side Chicago.
Side Chicago. The Boll Weevil song is good. The 88 song is fantastic. And maybe just because I'm such a homer for that band, but I really love it. The other 2 songs are the Funeral Oration song is okay, but the other song is just So I got to go Chicago side. I do like the recording, sound quality throughout all of them. In listening to it in the playlist, it came out really nice because none of the songs are like way louder than the other song or anything like that. So whoever actually mastered this did a superb job. So yeah, 96 this was. So
yeah, it's cool. And Ben can pull up who mastered it. Bobby, let's shoot it to you.
Same. I've had this forever, and I hadn't thought about it since probably 1996 or 97.
Yeah.
Honestly, but like it was fun to listen to. Like it was really nice revisiting it. Like it brought back a lot of like 96 feelings. I love that Boll Weevil song. I think that's my favorite one on there. I don't know why. It's just like easy to listen to. There's nothing spectacular about it, but for some reason, maybe it's a time and place thing. Maybe it's just stuck in my subconscious. But like, I like that song. 88 Fingers Louie. I don't know. I was always kind of a mark for that band, and I have no idea why, because I don't like a lot of bands like that. But I always liked 88 Fingers Louie. So side A all the way. Side B, I didn't like Funeral Oration, and the NRA song. Actually, I'm surprised you don't like it, Joe. It kind of has like early like Jawbreaker vibes to me. Like I kind of like it. It's it might be like my favorite song on there next to the Boll Weevils one, but overall, I mean, side A I think wins. But I like that Fuel song. I think it's good.
Joe, do you pick up those vibes at all?
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got it there. It's just really flat sounding. Like there's no like dynamic in the music.
I agree.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like super compressed, and so like there's no highs or lows. It's just this is it. Everything is at the same level. There's nothing. So it just sounds really plain and boring. It's probably a great song, but I'm listening to it with those ears, and I just don't hear that. So.
Oh, it's Amsterdam.
Yeah, and I think
man. You gotta get in the zone to have those dynamics pop.
I mean, that Boll Weevil song, I mean, it's a great song, but there's no dynamics there either. It's just like,
well, the whole thing is super. I mean, it's the '90s, so everything is overcrushed. far
Right.
as compression goes. But the 88 Fingers Louie song has like a different change and a breakdown. Well, not a breakdown, but you know what I'm saying. Like there's some
dynamics.
there's some dynamic to the music at least.
Sure.
So
It doesn't say who mastered it. It talks about like the technical mastering, which is like making the metal plates, which is at Greg Lee Processing. So shout out. Unfortunately, they went out of business in the year 2000 out of Gardena, California. But Ben, what's your take on this?
The lacquer was cut at Golden Mastering. So isn't John Golden? Wouldn't that be John Golden who mastered this?
Yes.
Okay.
But Joe.
I think so. No, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, but Joe's talking about like the level that like nothing jumps out, like the levels of the whole record, like they seamlessly sound good, like track B isn't like, I don't know. There's not a huge fall off one way or the other. But anyway, Ben, let's go to you.
That would be Golden. That would be Golden that would handle that, though, right? I mean,
yeah, it would. Yeah. And I'm looking at it now, and they're in Ventura. So,
and John Golden did almost everything I ever recorded with every band I did. Anytime I had any say in it, it went to John Golden.
I mean, John Golden said just about every good record we like, or like 80% of them. And you'd be surprised. John Golden he's done everybody, like everything.
Yeah, and it's and they're in Ventura.
Right up Main Street, yeah.
But surprisingly, I never was there during any of those mastering sessions because it was always like during the work week. I'm not gonna how am I gonna play hooky? I guess I could have, or I should have. Anyway, this is the Boll Weevils. I'm hearing major doot-dat doot-dat action. Like this is like textbook doot-dat doot-dat drum beat. Sometimes I listen to songs like this and I wonder if they could be saved by having a standard 70s punk beat underneath them. Like if you just removed the doot-dat doot-dat and you had like a Buzzcocks kind of a beat going on, like how much really separates melodic, like Generation X, Buzzcocks type bands from 90s pop punk bands aside from the drumming? It's kind of like an existentialist question. Because even though like Generation X is, 40 going on 45 years old, it sounds less dated than stuff that was made 25 years ago for whatever reason, to me at least. 88 Fingers Louie, I've always thought this band is almost good, but they're just a little bit too Fat Wreck sounding for me to enjoy them. Funeral, and so we're going to Amsterdam now. Funeral Oration, I had no idea this band started in 1982, and it makes me want to listen to their really early material because it's before that whole pop punk sound existed. So there's like no way they could have sounded like that in 1982. So have any of you guys listened to like early 80s Funeral Oration?
No, that's really interesting that exists. I had no idea. So I'll check that out too.
Yeah, they don't sound like this at all.
Well, I couldn't. Yeah. I mean, first record came out in like 83 or something.
But it's got, they have a bit of oh shit, what's the band? Never mind. Sorry, go on.
Ben, they do, the demos are 82. The LP, Communion is like the standout LP of the early days. And it's 84. And you might really like it. It's like fast hardcore, but there is like some melody in there. It's really rad. I love it.
Yeah, I gotta listen to that. This song is pretty good, and again, I'm distracted by that dated '90s pop punk drumming. It could almost be indie pop music if you got rid of the drummer and you had someone play the same. If you had someone play slower, like the melody, almost reminds me of like all these UK 80s indie pop bands like Sea Urchins or whatever. NRA is actually good the way it is. Like I wouldn't fire the drummer. Like it sounds fine to me. It's like melodic punk. It's melodic punk music without sounding like the soundtrack to a fucking snowboard video. So, and I've never heard NRA before, and I didn't know anything about them before doing this. So I'm going side B, Amsterdam over Chicago.
I think it's interesting what you're talking about with, if you swapped out like that Boll Weevils drumming for something like, would it sound like the more popular late 70s English punk? And I don't know. It's interesting because although like the drum beat speeds up, the other thing, the strange thing about it is the chord progressions slow down. So the chord progressions are slowing down, the drums are speeding up, and it's also what makes the drums sound so fast, I think, right? Because they're not doing like a riff over the top of it. It's always like da 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 do that 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 do that. So it's like that's what makes it so standout and weird and dated, right? But that's what I like. And this Boll Weevil song is, other than like Lori Myers and like No Effects, like the prime shit, like Linoleum. This is like right where it's at for Do Dat Do That. And that's why I chose this, and I fucking love it. And I had to be on mute the whole time Ben was talking about it to not like butt in on him, This is this is perfect Do Dat Do That. And I love it. And I don't know. It's like it's a love song too, which like would make me not want to like it, but it's sick. I absolutely love this song. I also love 88 Funerals Louie, although I think the song is kind of whatevs. I love Funeration. I think this song is okay. Ben, my favorite Funeration stuff though is from this era, and I'm like one of like 17 people probably that like them. And I don't like the fact that the first time I brought them on the show, I set them up to fail. But what can you do? I think the NRA song sucks. It's just, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know anything about them, so I guess I don't feel that bad. But yeah, it just sounds poppy and whatever. It's like just nothing grabs me. And I think listening to this record, I just want to get in those 96 feels, man. I want to feel something. And the NRA stuff I just didn't connect with, and it has no nostalgia to me, so whatever. I'm going side A on the strength of the Boll Weevil song. Just that song fucking rips. Do that, do that, do that, do that, do that, do that all fucking day. What's up?
It's on the do that Mount Rushmore.
It is. I think what we need to do is we got to choose what's the fourth do that on the Mount Rushmore, because it's this Boll Weevil song. Lori Myers and Linoleum. So we got the three. Yeah. I don't know what the fourth is. So we'll have to figure that out one day and then have someone Photoshop it for us. But
did you ever figure out who was first?
Nah, we got to get Smelly on. Smelly will tell us. I mean, my theory is that Bomber does it some, but interchangingly.
That's what I think.
Never through a full song.
Not throughout.
Right, and then I think that because No Effects was so influenced by RKL, it's Smelly like picking out a part of Bomber's drumming and running with it. Like, I'm going to take the best part of this and make it my own. That's my theory, and I could be totally wrong. But my guess is...
So Smelly has to pick number 4. Smelly has to tell us who the fourth song is then.
That's true.
He should, Mount Rushmore.
Even though he's playing on 2 of the 4, he's got to tell us who the fourth is. I agree.
He might be playing on 3. He might be on 3 of the 4. We don't know yet.
Yeah. I know.
You know who could be on this is a weird one. Maybe we've talked about this, but Lucas on the Carry On LP, A Lifeless Plague, does the do that beat throughout the whole thing. And it's straight edge hardcore, but it totally works. It doesn't sound like he's playing the wrong beat, even though technically, I guess he told me he didn't know how to play that Chris Bratton beat or the Nat beat that Nat's doing on the earlier Carry On records.
Interesting, but probably not making Rushmore. But respect for attacking it in an unconventional style for it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, this was fun, dudes. What do you think? How did you enjoy the exercise, Bobby?
It was fun, man. This is great. I really liked some records I'd never heard before. It was interesting. I mean, that Restraining Order record is that was a nice little gift that I'm going to keep for a while. But no, it's nice hanging out. Thanks for having me. Super fun.
Yeah, I'm glad that Ben chose that one because I think that record can't get enough shine. I mean, not that we needed to do any more for it. Like, that record stands alone and has gotten many accolades, but I love to brush on it a bit. And I love that Ben chose that as a standout record of the past handful of years. Ben, how do you feel about this group of songs and albums?
This is cool. A lot of this stuff is stuff I own, but I just don't really listen to. So it was cool to revisit the DRI record or the Pagans single. And then there's a bunch of stuff in here that like I'd never heard that Good Riddance 7-inch before. Not that I'm a fan of it, but it's like, here's a band I've been, I bought the first album when it came out when I was like 17 years old. And like, I just had never heard the 7-inch that preceded it. So yeah, it was cool. Tell me, listeners, or tell Zach, you listeners out there, if you think this would work for record against record within a band's catalog. In other words, you take like the Dills' first and second 7-inch against each other, or Agnostic Front, two Agnostic Front albums, which one is better, that kind of thing. I think that would be neat to do too, but that's for someone else to decide.
No, I agree, but it's hopefully a long journey in front of us for this podcast, so we can never run out of ideas, but that would be good as well. I want to do a few more of these, and then the Super 7 stuff I want to break out and do a bunch of different ideas. So it's, with the way my brain works, it works nicely if I schedule things, and I never know how much homework people are going to have to do these pods. So doing a bunch of LPs versus LPs could be a shit ton of homework if someone like hasn't heard 10 LPs, it's like, oh, fuck. Like I got to listen to so much music to like be able to do this,
That's true.
Where this stuff is like,
we get lead time.
Yeah, you get lead time, but that's still a lot of records if like you got 2 weeks. This stuff is fun because it's like a playlist that people can, it's a palatable playlist to like listen to, and people can listen to 30 seconds of each song if they want. They can listen to it as much or as little as they want. So yeah, I think that is a good idea, Ben. We'll do it at some point, but maybe in mid 2021. If I don't quit, because if Retaliate doesn't sell through the first press, I'm quitting the podcast. And Joe, what do you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. You, me, and Ben have been doing this for a bit, but it's good to have Bobby on here and hear his voice because he's an old friend. So it's nice to hang out with him a little bit.
Nice to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had fun. So thank you guys for helping out, and everyone, we'll see you on Monday.